Okay, I think we're live. I think. Yay, it looks like it's connected. So, hopefully everybody's got sound. Yay! All right, guys. I know everybody's pressed for time because the holidays are rolling around and everybody's busy making and doing and all of this kind of stuff. So I am going to play the intro and we will get started. Yay! And before I get started, I want to say thank you to all of my moderators. You guys are awesome. All of you guys in the groups and on YouTube. I greatly appreciate you guys helping out and stopping by to answer questions. Hey, Crystal. Welcome. Crystal's one of my latest supporters. Crystal, I just sent you an email. So, make sure that you got that. And if you have any questions, let me know. If you're not a current supporter, you can support me on Patreon or monthly on Ko-fi or a cutie collector or higher here on YouTube and get access to all of my files. The file we're making tonight is a little slider card. It's what I call the triple slider. And that file is available for upload on the 2020 supporter tab for all of you supporters eligible for the file. And this is a little variation of it that I did, and this one has the gift card. This one also holds the gift card, just in a different place, and I only have one gift card. So I'm going to pop that one off of there just so you guys can see, and then we'll put it back on the new one. This one you will wrap with a ribbon or something, and I will show you that here. I'm just going to use paper for it now, but you can, as a matter of fact, I did make it. And you can use ribbon or paper and just slide over the card, and all you do is just put a strip of paper around your card for this, if you're going to do it this style. And just slip it right on, and then you can slip it down and make your pocket on the front, and I'll be showing you guys how that one goes, so that it's just stuck right there and all they have to do is pull it out. Okay, so two different ways to add a gift card to these, or you can do it without a gift card altogether. Yes, you can always play back. Crystal, since you're a supporter, when you go over to my site, and as a matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and pull that up and show you guys, just in case anybody's brand new and they haven't been on the site yet. I'll bring this over. I did a little revamping to the site, freshened it up for you guys. Let's pop on over and show it. There we go. So when you come on, you'll either have to log on or register if you're not registered. The only pages that you can really get to without registering are the home page or the group resource guide page. Right here, you can download all the cheat sheets and charts and all that right here. Right here are the Learning Design Space videos, should you need those, the group rules, or if you need to head on over to the group, you can click here. Down below are all the resources, all the links to everything, all of our trusted sites, all of that are down there as well. To access supporter files or protected pages, you need a password. And if you are a supporter, you have that password either in your Patreon mail, or you have access to it on YouTube, or you have access to it on Ko-fi, depending on what platform that you subscribe to. So you're just going to log in on those black ones, and I'm not going to save that. And this page is not set up yet. It's coming. That's going to be your 2021 files. But right here, Crystal, if you go to the Supporter 2020, and you notice there's a drop down below that, there are some older files. Same here. They all have drop downs. The Freebies tab has drop downs. But if you go to the Supporter files, you'll see the calendar, and right here, the card we're doing tonight, you can download when you click here, it's going to download and open Design Space for you. Well, it's not going to download. It's going to ask you if you want to download Design Space or open the file. You're just going to click Open. And right here, if you click this button, it'll take you over to tonight's tutorial. Just Freebies tab has drop downs. But if you go to the Supporter, so I'm going to close that out just so it doesn't give us double sounds. So super easy to use on the site there, and you'll find everything. Loads and loads and loads of files. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I wanted to also say, let me go back to the overhead here. Thank you to Jamie for this beautiful Christmas card. Looks like she did a lot of Anna Griffin work on it. Love, love, love. Gorgeous, gorgeous card. Thank you, Jamie. Going up on my mantle. All right. And if anybody needs the viewer mail address, please let me know. It should be on the site, but I did some revamping. I may have accidentally deleted that box, and I will put it back. So if you need that address to send any viewer mail. All right, let's go ahead and get started on talking a little bit about some Design Space stuff. We got some new stuff to talk about. Yeah, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's a very, very pretty card. The camera just won't do it justice. So let's go over and open up our Design Space. And here's tonight's file. I added a couple. If you got this earlier, I made a couple of changes to it because it was an older file. So I added this here to give us a little bit of height for our bow. I have it set where it sits right about here, right at the top. If you want it to sit a little bit lower, you'll need to make it your bow smaller, because you want it to land within those 2 score marks if you want it down flush, okay? So whatever you're going to replace this with or use here, make sure it's between these score lines unless you're prepared for it to sit up a little bit higher. And part of this little hump might show. Didn't bother me. I kind of liked it that way, showing that it had a different color and a different element there, and I'll point that out when we go back. I'm going to undo that because I don't want to mess up the file from what I'm making tonight. Guys, all you really need is cardstock and some glue for this one. I cut it out of scraps. Oops. Didn't change. I hate that thing. I hate it. There we go. Right here. This is the bow. I put this little piece on the top. And so make sure that you have it in between these score lines if you resize it. If you want it to sit flush, okay? But I kind of like mine up just a little bit with that little bit showing under there. I don't know if you can see it with me selecting it. But I'll point it out here in just a few minutes. I'm going to undo that. But you really don't need anything to make this file except some scraps. That's what I used. I'm going to go all the way back. There we go. Get that back in where it's supposed to be. But I didn't put an envelope in here. Okay? So, what if I wanted to get an envelope? I'm on the classic view, and I'm just going to hit save real quick just so I don't mess up this file. If I know that I have an envelope or something, let's say anything, just another element that I want to add to this, but it's in a project in another file, I use the classic view. You have to be on a computer and you have to be in the new 6.0150 version. You have to be in the new canvas right here. And if any of you don't know how I got there, 3 lines at the top, go down to settings, and then you can click on new. And it's going to change my canvas. And you can see now it's at 1/8 inch grid instead of the 1/4 inch grid. Okay. So I want to copy and paste from another project. So what I'm going to do, and you guys may not be able to see this, but at the top, when you have a window open, at the top of the page, you're going to see Cricut Design Space, and then you're going to see the words File, Edit, View, and Help. Okay, and I'm simply going to click on File, and then a drop down is going to appear, and you're going to see New Window. And I'm going to kind of screenshot that so that you guys can see it and let you take a peep at that picture, just so you'll know what I'm talking about. I have to open it in preview and slide it over for you guys. There we are. So this is at the top of my screen. I have 2 monitors, so it's at the top of the main screen. I slid Design Space over so you could see it. So right here, you're going to go and you're clicking File. You're going to see that drop down, and you're going to click on New Window. Okay? And when you do, let me get that back up. You're going to get a new Design Space window. So it's going to give you 2 windows. And if you, by the way, if you're cutting in another file, or you have 2 machines and you want to cut on your Air or your something like that, you can go in here and select, and you can cut on 2 machines this way, for those of you who didn't know. So that's going to be tip number 1 tonight, for those who have asked that question. But let's just say, for whatever reason, I want the poinsettia out of here, and I don't know what one I used, whatever. I'm going to open that up and customize. And this is our new feature in Design Space. So I'm going to make sure that I've got all of this flower, and I don't believe that you have to group it, but I'm going to group it just to say. And I'm going to hit Control-C on my computer, and then I'm just going to minimize that, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to right-click, paste. And now I have that poinsettia in here, and I can use it in the same file. Previously, we could not combine 2 files. Now we can. So if you've made this and you're like, hey, I don't want to set up another dimensional envelope or a slimline envelope. I know I have one over there. I want to bring it in and use it for this card. Then you can do that simply by having that second window open. Did everybody follow with me on that one? Let's see if I've got an envelope. Let me go to my projects here. Now I'll make you sit through and watch all of my, this envelope won't fit it, but maybe I've got one that will. This is a dimensional. Let's just say I wanted this 5x7 dimensional envelope. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to select it and customize. I'm going to replace, because I know this card, when it's only a 4x6, so I know it'll fit in this envelope. So I'm just going to select all. I'm going to right click. This is another way. Remember, on the other one I said Control-C for copy and Control-V for paste. We're just going to copy it. Going to come over here, right click, paste, boom, got my envelope. So now I don't have to say, oh shoot, I should have gone back, because previously, those of you who have been doing Cricut for a little while, you know that we had to open up our dimensional envelope that we created, do a save as, and then create our project in there with it if we wanted to combine them. We don't have to do that anymore. Yay! Now we can go and find that element, pop it right in. So that's one thing that you guys can do. Now I am just going to hide these elements because I don't want to really change them. Just going to group them and hide them for right now. I don't want to do any saving on this, and I just hopefully won't forget. So another tip and trick, I saw people asking, do I have to change everything one color at a time? Let's say that you were going to make 2 or 3 of these cards on pattern paper, and that way you're going to take one piece of the top from each, one piece of the middle from each, and one of the large from each. But if we don't change the color and we just go over and hit make it and we apply 3 copies, then it's going to cut all of our top pieces out of that same one color paper, so all of our tops are going to be the same, and we may want to mix and match with some pattern papers, and I'll show you what we mean on the overhead in just a minute. So in this case, what I would want to do if I'm using 3 different pattern papers and I want to mix and match so that the cards are slightly different but out of the same matching papers, I want all of these pieces to cut in the same. I don't want that one, but I want all of these pieces to cut in the same color. Okay, so I'm going to go over and I'm going to just simply drag everything on those bars right into one color. So now when I go over and I hit make it, I can go and apply 3 copies, and now it's cut. These pieces down here don't matter, just so you guys know. You can use a scrap for that. It brought them over, but you see how it jumbled them up and they're different sizes? That's really not the way that I wanted them to cut. I wanted to kind of cut all of my small pieces out of one sheet, out of different sheets. So what I'm going to do is go over and I'm going to cancel it, and I'm going to select the 3 pieces. These pieces right here, even though they're sitting on top, they don't matter, guys. You can put them on, you don't even have to cut them on the Cricut, and you'll see. I'm going to select the 3, and then I'm going to attach. And then I'm going to hit make it. And now it's going to pop those down there. Let me hide those little guys too. Just so. There we go. Now you can see that everything is on one page. Now it did rotate it around, but I can rotate that. Boom. And get it. I know it's going to say that you need a 24-inch mat, but here comes your other tip. That will cut. Oh, I'm trying to turn it. It doesn't want to turn for me. There we go. There we go. Anyway, it's not completely straight on that mat for whatever reason. It doesn't want to straighten up. Doesn't want to let me do it, but it will cut on a 12-inch sheet of paper. We do have that little bitty 1/4 inch, but it's going to say you need that 12 by 24 mat. You can put it on a 12 by 12, send it in and cut it. It will cut. Okay? So, but that's going to give you the 3 sizes on 3 different papers so that you can mix and match. Okay? And you can just attach them too instead of making copies. I'm just going to undo all that because I don't want a chance hitting save and messing up the file for you guys. There we go. We're back to normal. But color sync is another thing that I saw people asking about, and that's what color sync does. It's just if you have tons of teeny tiny little pieces and you want them all one color, you don't have to go in and click each piece in the layers panel, especially if they got attachments, and go in and come up here and change them one by one. Okay, you can, but you don't have to. You can do it just by color sync. If you just want to change one piece, if I just wanted to change that, I could change just the one. Okay, so you can drag the piece itself, or you can drag the entire color selection. Okay, so tons of little things that you can do with your color sync. How many people didn't know what color sync was? I know there might be a couple of seconds lag. There it goes, it's caught up. Okay. So the other question that was really common that I saw in lots of places over the last week was people when you weld your fonts. And I'm just going to go in and get a new project for this so I don't mess this up. So let's say that for whatever reason you're doing, I'm just going to use the word create. And I don't want it in caps, I don't think. Let's say that I'm doing that, and as we know, like this, it's going to go over, and if I hit make it, it's going to stay in place and cut it as create. If I ungroup it to letters, they're going to jumble up, and I need to attach as it is, and it will be just fine, okay? Attach will work perfectly fine, just like this. However, when I go in there and I select maybe a script font, and I'm just going to use Magnolia Sky for this because I know this one does it. You can see that my letters don't touch, and that's really not the way that we want it to look. So I'm going to come up here to my letter space on the toolbar. You notice that when I click off of Create, my toolbar goes away. If this is really small and you've got really small writing, let me get it up there. You can see that when I select it, that toolbar comes down over it and I can't play with it. Guys, if you use your positioning tool and bring this down to the 3" or the by 3" mark, it's going to bring it down so that when you select it, that toolbar is not going to interfere. Okay? That's one thing on fonts that you may not have known. Your font bar disappears when you're not selected on text, and it reappears. So if you've got it up there at that 00 mark and you need to get it out from under there, especially if it's teeny tiny, let me just, you can see if you get really small with that, it's going to be hard to even grab it. And you see, you can't get to it. So if you use those positioning tools and change that position, it's going to bring it down where you can get to it. Okay? So that solves that mystery that I saw last week. The next one is connecting the letters. So if I go in here and I letter space this down so that they touch and it looks correct, you can see my R is in line now. This, not quite. So I am going to come up here and I am going to ungroup to letters. And then that's going to make them all individual. If you notice over here in the layers panel, it's not just one thing anymore. I'm going to hold my shift key and I'm going to select my E and my T so that they move together. And then I'm going to continue to hold my shift key and I'm just going to slide it over. And that's going to keep it in line for you. Then I'm going to select all and I'm going to attach. If you attach, you notice they're all still separate letters. Okay, they're all still separate. Oh, you didn't know that, Patty? Yep, if you hold that, and now you can still bump it up, Patty, but if you have to physically bump your mouse up and down to get it to release, but it will go up. But if you just slide your mouse over and you're holding that shift key, it'll keep it in line. So now we've got this, but when we send it over to make it, don't know if you can see it on this black. Let me change that. I'm going to change it to white. And now you can't see it there, so I'm going to come down here to my blank canvas. Some of you guys may not know this. You can see down here in the bottom right, my blank canvas. You can now change the color up here so that you can see it. Okay? So now you can see your white on the canvas. So I'm going to hit make it. And you can see right here where I have attached everything. It's come over to the mat, looks great. But if you look closely, where my C and my R join, there's a line across there. Where my R meets my E, there's a line across there. At the A, at the T, and here at the E. What that means is this C is going to cut out of that R, the R out of the E is going to cut out of the A is going to cut out of the T, and the T is going to cut out of the E, and vice versa. So you're going to have all these little square chopped pieces right here. All these little chopped up pieces. And it will show on vinyl, on iron-on, all of it. It will show. So the only way to avoid that is to weld, not attach. If your letters or an image touches another image, it will cut out of one another if you do not weld it. Okay? I'm going to go back. And you notice that as long as it's attached or in groups, you can see that it is the Magnolia Sky font, which is a system font, an uploaded font. It does the same thing with Cricut fonts. It will tell you what it is. Okay? But once I weld it, then that goes away. Once I hit save, as you notice, I can undo and get it all back. But once I hit save and I name this, okay, last week, remember I said if your asterisk's gone, that means it's saved. I can still undo and get that back. You can see that I got it all back right here. Okay? Still able to separate those letters. I can detach them and move them around. But once I weld it and I close this project out, I can no longer separate those letters at all. Okay? Because it's not going to be done. So I'm going to get save. You can see my asterisk came back. I know I misspelled that. That's okay. I'm not a typist. So now let's go to my projects and let's get that create and let's customize it. So here's my new project and now I want to undo and it's not going to undo. It's not going to let me undo anything because I've exited that project and opened it up again. So now I'm stuck with it. But the problem is I don't know what font I used. Okay? If you come over to your layers panel, and I don't know if they fixed this for mobile, it used to not be available on mobile, but if you're on a computer, you can right click, you can go down to the image info, and you can see it right here. It's grayed out, but you can see it, and it does say Magnolia Sky. Okay? So if you've used a system font and you've welded it, or you've used a Cricut font and you've welded it, your information is still in there and you'll be able to find it. Now if you've used a Cricut font, if you click on your title, let me just fix my typo here and save it. If you come down and, oops, that's it going to let me close out now that I fixed it. Oh, I didn't save it. Let me save that. So if you typo, you can fix it too. Come down and you can hit that. You can see it's not giving me anything. It's only working sometimes with a new update. Okay, thank you, Jamie. That's fixing to say it's not working. Usually it would just tell you, I forgot exactly what it says. If anybody can remember, it just says a font or something like that. It doesn't say anything, which will tell you that it's a system font. Because if I go in here and I do, and it may be because I don't have any Cricut stuff in there. Let's pick a Cricut font here. There's my Cricut font. And I'm going to save that in. Same thing, you can come over here, right click the image. Is it working? It's grouped. There we go. At the top where you want to go up there at the top where it's named. And it tells you right here, a child year monogram. And it's going to say that there too, unless I were to hide that and then weld. You can see that the same thing happens with the Cricut font. But if you go into image info, a child year monogram is the font that was used. So let's save that. say that we're finished creating. Down here, if you come in here, and that's what it is. If it's a system font, you won't have anything in here. The system fonts do not show up in this section. They do in the layers panel, but not here. That's what it was, Jamie. So as long as you have at least a curriculum, if you try to open this and there's nothing there, you know for a fact it was a system font. If you see something in there, it's going to tell you what it is. So that's another way that you can find what you used, either for an image or for a font. Either one. Okay? So you can always tell. I'm going to go back to my projects and open this one up and make it replace. So I want to customize. There we go. So if I wanted to know everything that I used in here, I can click on my title and go in here and it will tell me that I used the circle from Basic Shapes, the line, the square. I used the bell. I can click on it and it's going to take me to the cartridge where it was. So there are many, many, many ways to find out what images that you were using and your fonts. Okay? So hopefully somebody learned something from the tips and tricks tonight. And let's go over and make our card. What do you say? If I can get it to change. We're going to try. There we are. Yay. And if you guys have any questions now, design space questions or anything that you're wondering about, ask them. Put them in caps. And the moderators are going to get those answered for you. And if we need to show you on screen, we will. It doesn't have to be anything that pertains to tonight. Any kind of design space question that you need answered, ask. That's what we're here for on Mondays. The projects are a bonus. I'm going to try to get this camera in line a little bit better so you can see. There you go. Don't mean to make anybody drunk there. All right. So I got all of my stuff all scattered. I cut 2 or 3 of these. And I couldn't decide on what paper I liked. So I used some scraps and I cut different ones. So here's another one. And I kind of like the way that that one looked as well. So you could do that card with these papers. You could probably mix and match them. Lots of ways you can do these. I used, on those scraps, they were Cartabella. And on some of the papers you buy, you're going to find a strip at the bottom. And we use these for belly bands and all sorts of things. But you can use them for pieces in your card making as well. Let me see if I can grab a sheet that has one on there. I have a full sheet. Here's an Echo Park. Like this Echo Park, you're going to cut the bottom of that off. It's like a 12.5-inch sheet. And you're going to cut that bottom strip off. We use those. They have decorative pieces on them for belly bands and stuff. And that's what I'm using are the scraps off the paper in these. Now I did cut this one out of this paper stack because I wanted to try this paper. This is some Bow Bunny. It is called the Joyful Christmas. Lots of pretty papers in there. This is not double-sided though. You can use double-sided. Double-sided is not necessary. Okay? And you're going to have in that file these 3 pieces. I've got some extra pieces of other stuff up here too. There we go. So you may not have all the pieces you see on camera, but they are too. They're extras that I cut. So this is your small piece, shaped just like this, and you're just going to fold it back on its score lines. Okay? That's all there is to it. You're just going to fold it back on its score lines. And it's folded like this, and I know that may seem like a little bit of wasted paper, but it really isn't because you want nice, smooth, pretty sides on there. I'm using art glitter glue. And I'm just going to come down this side. And we're going to put just a teeny tiny bit of glue. And then on this side, I'm going to put a teeny tiny. And we're just going to close that up. Okay. So I've got my pretty side out. This is the front. Okay. So if you know which side that you're using, you've glued it. This is the front. Okay. You can make this a little bit of a pocket if you want, just by closing in this edge. It will not hold a gift card. You can resize this if you want it to hold a gift card, but the second piece will hold a gift card, okay? So when you've got that opened up, I close this one and it will make a pocket, but it's going to stand up. So you might want to put your bow or your bell on there on the gift card instead of putting your tab here. You can do that. Do not put it on the inside. That's going to fall down in there. They can't get it. It's not deep enough. I didn't close the bottom of that one, so it'll just fall through. So if you don't seal it up, it will fall through. But on this one instead, I put the pocket on that front. Okay, super easy, super simple. Just glue 3 sides instead of all of it, and you can put it in there. So now this one is dry. We're going to go with the second one. And you're going to fold that on its score lines. And I think I can see these maybe. There it is. Had to get a little bit of light shining on it to see it. We're just going to press that down. And then fold it on this score line. Give it a rub. Now you'll see that there's 2 slits in this piece right here. And the slits are closer up on this end. That is the top. Okay. This is where you're going to need some of your little scraps. And they're in there. I think they're cut at like 3, 3.5, something like that. But they're a 1/2 inch wide. And you're just going to thread it through. I'm going to flip this around so you guys can see it. You're just going to thread it through those 2 slits. And just going to fold it over. I'm going to flip it back around so you guys can see it folded over. Okay. So I've got it down at the bottom as far as it'll go. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. First I'm going to fold this side over. I'm going to trim that off because yours may need to be trimmed as well. I just made sure that you had enough for the pieces. Just going to cut it off. Then I'm going to open it back up and I'm just going to put a little glue right on that edge and then right on the edge of this. Now I don't want to glue those down. I want to make sure that they don't get in there. So I had a piece of paper here, my scrap, and I lost it. I'll just use my card. So I'm just going to put my card there and just hold it, just so if any glue squishes out, it won't glue it to the card. We don't want to do that. We just want to glue that band, okay? And now that band will slide up and down on its own. Okay? Give that a second to dry and work on your second one. And this one also has 2 slits. You want to put it over to the left. And you can change them around, I guess. I don't think it will hurt, but check it and see. It should be to your left. And again, you're just going to put that piece in there. You're going to fold it over. Try to keep it straight instead of crooked like mine. There we go. I'm just going to trim that off. And again, we're going to glue those just on this end and just on this end. Don't want any glue to swish out, so I'm just going to put that card in there just in case so I don't glue it down. And it should also move up and down. Don't want to play with it too much until it dries. And now we're going to come back to our medium piece. This is the medium piece. You want to take this piece, which, okay, it's the front, and you want it facing you. And you're going to put some glue just on your strip here. Push it all the way down to the bottom. It needs to be at the bottom at this step. Make sure you've got this face up, pretty side to you, and you want to glue it down in that panel, but you want it even with the edge right here. If that makes any sense. I've got it in the center of that panel. If you want to draw you a pencil line so that it helps you center it up, you can. And then you want to make sure that it's hidden just a hair at the top there. I'm going to let that sit, and then it should move freely. Okay, this is the front. And you're just going to flip this over. And you're not going to see that. That's why I said you could use a scrap. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where it comes from. We're just going to glue down this edge. My pen is in my way. There we go. And then we're going to put some on this edge. And just fold it over. So now you have the first step. Okay? Again, this is my front, so I'm going to keep that face up. I'm going to push this all the way down, and we're going to glue just on our tab. I am using art glitter glue. That's just a small bottle that I put it in. I'm going to push that down, and again, you want to glue it with your edge right below. You want to center it up in that panel. And we're just going to glue that down. Front up. And we're going to close this side off. And again, same step. This card looks complicated in the pictures, but it's super, super simple, super quick, and you can use scraps. Just going to fold that over. Yay, Shirley, I'm glad you found that. Oh, thanks, Dean. Or that's Deanne. Deanne? Deanne? Deanne. Ah, I got it. Deanne. This has been around for a while. I just totally forgot about it, and Louise showed me a slider, and it sparked in my brain that I hadn't done this one yet. Super easy. This is good for birthdays too, guys. You can make it look like gifts, all that kind of good stuff. So now we're ready for our bow, and I'm going to close that up. And this is the bow that I chose, and it's going to sit right there at the top. So I'm just going to pull that out just a little bit, just so I know where it's going to sit. I don't want it to go all the way down in there. Just that. If you glue this on the top, it's like this, it's going to hang. Okay, let's see if I can get that. Even it will hide that whole piece back there, but it will hang. When you go to reinsert it, you see where it stops? So you don't want to do that. You want to raise it up just a little bit. And I kind of like those little dots on this paper showing right there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the top of this right here. And then I'm going to stick my bow down right so that it sits right at the top of that package and shows those little bit of the dots. Okay? Didn't go all the way in there at all. I don't want it to. I did want it straight though. Duh. So I've got the edge of my bow sitting right at the edge, top edge of that. That might help too, for those of you wondering about line up. So then, on the way that that bow goes together, you have these other two little pieces. I'm just going to glue those right on. And I just got glue on the front of it. Art glitter glue does dry matte and clear, so if you're using these foil papers, you don't want to get it on there because it will dry matte. This is a gum eraser. I'm just going to rub it off best I can until it dries. So there you have that. We're going to open it back up. And I just use like a little foam dot. You can use a glue dot, foam dot, whatever you want. Just going to place one right in the middle there. Peel off the backing. And I'm going to place my card right there on top. So now it's pretty with the card on there. And the card is exposed. And then when they remove the card, it will still be pretty. Okay? Just like that one. Except for the dot. I would use a clear glue dot. So when they remove it, it will go with it. Then we have this front panel. Now I stamped mine with a stamp from Close to My Heart. This was last year's, called Traditional Holiday. You might be able to find it on eBay or something, but it's not going to be on Close to My Heart. But whatever you want, you can use your Cricut to write or draw. Now if you want to make the pocket on the front, like I did this one, right here, all you're going to do is on this front panel is glue the 3 sides. Okay? Just those 3 sides. And then place it down. And then you can add, I added Nuvo drops on mine. I used the Honey Gold and Autumn Red is what I used on this one. And I used the Honey Gold on this one. To make your strip, I'm just going to pull that one off before it gets good and dry. Get that dot off of there. To make it go into that pocket, you're going to need a way to pull it back out. Because if it drops way in there, they're not going to be able to get it out without ripping the card. You can either use paper that matches. Use, I don't know if that one's long enough. It has a hole in the center, so I'm not going to use that. What's on this one? How about just a piece of paper that matches? There we go. So all you need is just a 1/2 inch strip if you're going to do yours this way. I don't guess my keyboard will cut it. That's a first. I grabbed at my keyboard. Just going to use my little Cricut trimmer here. Go in about a 1/2 inch. Get a strip. Doesn't even have to be perfect. And just going to wrap it around the card. I didn't get that straight, but it was a scrap, so. Get yours straighter than I got mine, for sure. Mine's way off. So I'm just going to put glue on the end of that one, end of this one. We're going to glue those down. And then you can add a ribbon on there, or you can do a punch. You can do just about anything you want, really. There. Let's get a piece of ribbon. That's probably going to be too wide, but I'll try it. The thinner ribbons work better. However, I don't know where I laid it. Like this would work better for this. Just a piece of little scrap. You could actually use ribbon instead of paper and put that on there. You can punch a hole, do a matching ribbon in that. I'm just going to tie that off. Could make a tab on this paper as well. And then you've got the pocket right on the front. Okay? Tons of things you can do, guys. Tons and tons. That paper, Linda, is from the Bo Bunny Joyful Christmas paper stack. I believe I got this at Hobby Lobby on a 50% off sale. I think it was like 10 bucks. There's no price on it, so I think it was regular it was either $19.99 or $14.99. And I bought it on a 50% sale. That's the only time I buy a stack. I don't pay the full price for them at Hobby Lobby. So super fun, cute cards. Lots of things you guys can do with these. You can use them for birthdays, for Valentine's. You can close. Now this one I closed the bottom up, so if you wanted to drop a piece of chocolate or something in there or tape it in, then it won't fall through. And all you have to do, guys, is with it closed, carefully, just put a bead of glue, making sure that you don't go up high enough to catch your card. Just put a bead of glue along this bottom and then hold it shut. That's it. But lots and lots and lots of stuff to do. My favorite is to put it right there on that spot. That's my favorite way of doing it. That way it's exposed when they open up the card. Yeah, you could use it for any occasion. Anniversaries, weddings. That would be cute for a wedding too. Do like a wedding cake. Be pretty. Pretty, pretty. Super, super easy. Super simple. And that's what we need, especially this time of the year. Quick, easy projects. That being said, projects this month will be simple. They will be quick. I may not be able to get a live out every Monday this month, guys. I am going to try. Let me get over to the calendar just so you guys can see. I have them scheduled. However, I know that we all get busy and have family that are coming by in small bits and pieces. Some people are having parties. That's totally up to them. So we all have different things going on, especially this year. I will try to get a live in every Monday. If I don't, I will get a recorded quick tutorial out for you guys. That being said, if you have questions and you anticipate asking them on that live, write them down, ask on the next live, or come in the groups and ask us. One of us will get to it for you. Yeah, you can put a little note on each section, Shirley. Guys, you can put a panel. Just because I only put a panel on the front of that doesn't mean that you can't put panels on the rest of it. If I can get over there again. There we go. You can put panels here, here, and here. You can put a panel on each one. I didn't because I want to see my pattern papers. But if you use a solid paper and you want to put panels with notes or stamps, perfect for this. Use solid paper and use your panels on there. I just wanted to give you something for you guys to be able to use your scraps up really quick, because I know a lot of you guys are going to be doing gift cards this year. You're going to be mailing a lot of cards this year for family that you don't get to see, and these are super simple, super quick, and you can get a card out of a sheet of paper. So, or you can get it out of 3 pieces of scrap. Does anybody have any other questions? All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. Please, yes, thank you, Jamie. Please give a thumbs up, a like on the video. Guys, don't forget, leave a comment down below. Get our videos pumped up there with Google. So make sure that you're leaving a comment. At least a thumbs up. Thank you, moderators. Thank you to all my supporters. Guys, if you want to be in the elite Facebook group, you have to be a supporter. Once you join, make sure you join that Facebook group. You'll get a message from me in Patreon. And if you're on Ko-fi, it will be in the password file, the link for that group. Where do I get the Nuvo drops? Shirley, I get these on Amazon. I get them from scrapbook.com, and I also get them from Tonic Studios. Sometimes you can't get new colors from anybody but Tonic. So there are lots of places. Let me give you guys that link. Hopefully it'll go through. There's the Tonic Studios if it lets you click on it or if it shows up. It should be down below in the video description as well. And there is scrapbook.com. And there is Amazon. And as always, if you shop any of my links, I will earn a commission. It is very small, but it is greatly appreciated. It does add up. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you. The elite group, Susan, is for my Patreon, Ko-fi, and YouTube channel supporters, Cutie Collector and higher. The elite group, let me bring you over. Let's see if I can pull it up, if it will let me with all of this going. I may have to just get a screenshot. It's called the Crafting with April, the elite group. Let me get that link. Actually, I don't want to post that link on the video because, again, it's for supporters only, and that link can be found in the password messages on Patreon. It can be found in the password post on Ko-fi that's done on the 1st of the month. And if you're a Cutie Collector or higher on YouTube, that link is provided to you as well. Because we don't want anybody but our supporters in that group. You guys have a little bit more freedom of things to do, and you get first notices. So if you message me, Susan, you're a supporter, I can get that for you. I'll get you that link. All right. Thanks, guys. You have a wonderful week. I will be releasing a file on Wednesday, and possibly Louise has given me a file. I will get that video out. I'm going to send a freebie file to the groups on Friday. So you guys will get that one as well. And we want to say thank you to Louise for that file in advance. You guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining me.